This gospel falls on a wonderful day, on Veterans Day, where we see these women in the readings today offer tremendous sacrifice, as our veterans have, and many who have paid the ultimate sacrifice we know. In today's gospel, the poor widow offers her entire livelihood. She has nothing else, our Lord says, after she put in those 2 coins, worth very little, monetarily speaking. The woman, the widow in the first reading, tells Elijah that after she bakes him this bread, they will have no more flour, no more oil. They will have nothing left to feed themselves, and they will die. Sacrifice. Giving all for God. And not just our veterans, not just poor widows, but all of us are called to that level of sacrifice. And so today, do we come offering a sacrifice? Or do we offer something short of a sacrifice? Because it's always the temptation. That's always the temptation. I think sometimes, rather than offering a sacrifice, we are tempted to simply offer an investment to God. There's a friend of my father who was a business owner, a very good man, a very good employer in Catholic. And he used to talk about how he kind of bragged about how much he would give his parish. And I asked him about that one day, and I said, well, why do you give? I mean, because you brag about it all the time. Like, do you give just so that you can brag about it? And he said, no, I give because I'm told and I believe that if I give whatever I give, the Lord will bless me with more. I give so that I will receive more. Sometimes we're tempted, rather than offering a sacrifice, to offer an investment with God, to kind of go the way of the health and wealth gospel, to go the way of televangelists. And that's not what we're called to do. We're called to sacrifice. And ultimately, we have already received everything, right? There's literally nothing more we could ever receive from God. He's given us his very self. And so we give and offer a sacrifice rather than an investment with the expectation that we're going to get something out of this. We already have. It is called salvation. I think sometimes rather than a sacrifice, we're tempted to offer an agenda. We're tempted to offer an agenda. And something that I hear with some frequency around here. Rather than a sacrifice, we say, look, I will give to this effort if you tear down the 1926 building. I will give to this effort if you do not tear down the 1926 building. I will give to this effort if you do this. I will give to this effort in this parish if you get rid of this person. I will give if. Sometimes rather than offering a sacrifice, we offer an agenda, or we're tempted to. We're tempted to offer an agenda. And that's not sacrifice. Sometimes I think, rather than a sacrifice, we offer to God our excess. We offer to God our abundance, like the rich people in the gospel today. Right? They certainly gave much more monetarily than the poor widow in the gospel today. But it was not worth more. It was not worth more. Sometimes we just give out of our abundance. There's a legendary story about St. Mother Teresa of Calcutta. And St. Mother Teresa was a bit of a globetrotter. And she would fly and make sure that she was there whenever their missionaries of charity would open a new house in a new mission, she would be there for the blessing. So she would travel quite a bit to the opening of their new missionary homes. And so one day on a flight to or from one of these blessings, there was a man on the plane that recognized her. And after the flight was over, they got off the plane, and he ran up to Mother, and he said, "Mother, here's a check for $200,000. Please accept this." And Mother very humbly says, "I can't. I cannot accept this gift." And he says, "Mother, don't worry about it. Please accept it. There's plenty more where this comes from." And she said, "Exactly. Exactly. There's plenty more where this comes from." Sometimes, rather than a sacrifice, we're tempted to just offer our excess. We're tempted to just offer our abundance. And the call is to offer sacrifice in today's gospel. This is what our Lord can work with. It doesn't matter the amount. Money didn't save the world. A sacrifice saved the world. And by uniting our sacrifices, whether they be monetary sacrifices, whether they be sacrifices of our time, whether they be, as we're here this morning, a sacrifice of praise to our God, it is a sacrifice united with that one that will increase salvation in this world, that will increase life in this world, because it was through that sacrifice that new life came. And we have all received in abundance from that new life. So guys, this week, today, right now, let us offer a sacrifice of praise. Let us offer our sacrifice of our finances. Let us offer a sacrifice of our time to God, so that salvation and new life might explode even more into our life and into the world around us.